Hi, my name is Robert from Madison, Wisconsin. My question is, as believers in this day and age, when you die, do you go directly to heaven, or do you sort of sleep until the last day in the very end of the end times, or the day of the Lord? I've seen scripture that sort of leads you to believe both could be true. And I've always believed that it was believers nowadays go immediately until these new scriptures were revealed to me about when people sleep, they know nothing. You know nothing in the grave. It said David is still in the grave, sleeping, things like that. What's your thoughts? Thanks.
Yeah, very well-informed question.
Yes, and one that I would say a lot of people are confused by today. You know, so many of us, we think, okay, I asked Jesus into my heart so that I can go to heaven when I die, and they just imagine that for the rest of eternity, what they're going to be doing is floating around in heaven, kind of in this disembodied state. And so it's important that we understand what the Bible actually teaches related to death and the resurrection of the body. The time that you're referring to, so after you die, we enter into what we sometimes call, prior to the Lord's return, we enter into what we sometimes call the intermediate state, because it's in between our death and the resurrection of the body. When we die, our spirits are separated from our bodies and they enter into the presence of the Lord. Our bodies go down into the ground. They experience corruption and decay for a time. But we know, according to 1 Corinthians 15 and other passages, that God is going to raise our bodies up again incorruptible. You and I are going to have glorified, perfect bodies. Now, sometimes in the New Testament, the intermediate state is described as a time of sleep. 1 Thessalonians 4:14, 1 Corinthians 15:18, it uses that language, that word, sleep, falling asleep. But I don't think that this means we're unconscious until the time of the resurrection, because Paul said to be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. 2 Corinthians 5:8. And then in the book of Philippians, listen to what he said. For to me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. If I am to live on in the flesh, that means fruitful labor for me, yet which I shall choose I cannot tell. I'm hard-pressed between the two. My desire is to depart and to be with Christ, for that is far better. Now think about that. That's Philippians 1:21 through 23. Think about it. In Paul's mind, his death meant going to be with Jesus. And whatever that looked like, he knew that it was infinitely better than his earthly experience. So let me break it down one more time for you. When we die, our spirits and our bodies are separated for a time. Our bodies go into the ground. Our spirits go to be with the Lord in paradise. Think about what Jesus told the thief on the cross. That's not the final state of affairs, though. The whole creation is looking forward to the last day when even our bodies are reunited with our spirits and raised again. And so the passages that I would go to are just those clear passages, especially in Paul, where he says, look, we're going to go be with the Lord, and that's going to be awesome. I mean, it's going to be better than anything we know. That's why in Philippians 1, Paul says, I don't know what to choose. I know that going to be with Jesus is way better than this. But he wanted to also encourage the Philippian church, and so that was why he was struggling with that question.
And Jesus, too, told the thief on the cross,
That's right.
Today you will be with me in paradise, not just when you're raised bodily in the future, but today you will be with me in paradise. So he can point to the soul that will be with him as you. It's the real you. It's your identity. But it's interesting that the sleep metaphor, which is just a metaphor, you look at a dead body and it looks like they're sleeping. Why so many references to that? Well, because our body is also the real us.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when people say, at a graveside, well, that's not real grandma.
Yeah.
Real grandma is with the Lord. No, the body is also real grandma. That body is going to be raised. She's going to, it's going to be reanimated by the Spirit of God, and the soul will be forever united intrinsically to the body. That is grandma as much as the soul. But the soul goes to be with the Lord, and then the body will be raised. That identification of death with sleep, I think, is such a wonderful affirmation that body there, lying there looking like it's sleeping, that body is just sleeping. It will be raised.